I'd like to speak a little bit about Shalom, how important Shalom is. From the very beginning, where the Torah speaks about the Dar HaMabel, they did very bad sins, and the Torah says, Kimol Oretz Chamas, V'pneihem, the Baruch was going to bring the Mabel because they stole from each other. So Rabban Shalom wiped them off. They all died. By Der Afloga, where it says, Vahi kol haaretz sofa echas udvarim achadim, there was one language, and they were all on the same boat, and they decided that according to the Medrash, that they were against the Rabbeinu Shalom. They said that he doesn't have any right, this is what Rashi says, to live up in the heavens, and we have to live down here on the earth, and the earth gets flooded every 1,565 years. So they wanted to make war with the Rabbeinu Shalom. So there, the final thing is that Yishalom Hafitzam Hashem al Pnei Kol Haaretz. So the Rabbeinu Shalom spread them out over the whole world, and they were not killed. So why? Which is the worst avera? To be apikursim or to steal? But still, the Torah says that for Kimol Oretz Chamas V'pneihem Hini Mashchis Amas Oretz, the Baruch was going to wipe them out. But when it came to the people who wanted to start a fight with the Rabbeinu Shalom, like Chazal say, the Rabbeinu Shalom didn't wipe them out. So Rashi says, so you see from here, what's the reason? Because they were together. As a matter of fact, the togetherness was so important that Rabbeinu Shalom said, what are we going to do with them if they're all together? So Rabbeinu Shalom had to cause friction between them. He mixed up their languages. And that was the reason why everyone had to go into different places. Each people for one language went into a different place, so they'd have shalom again. But you see, Rashi says, Sonui hamachloikas v'gadol hashalom. And in Parshas Kairach, the Torah said that Moshe Rabbeinu said that Baruch was going to make a new miracle, and that they'll swallow him up. The earth will swallow them up. Evidently, in those times, till then, it was not known that there was such a thing as the earthquakes, where they, with faults, where people can fall in. And the Baruch Shalom left them afterwards that we haven't today, so we'd be able to understand and believe that such a thing could have happened. So the Baruch Shalom said, no one should get involved with machlokas. Now, the Rav Moshe Sternbuch asks a question. Though on Sukkot we take the Arba Minim. Chazal say that the Arba Minim represent the 4 types of Yidden. The esrog, which has a good smell and a good taste, represents the tzaddikim who have Torah and Ma'asim Tovim. The lulav has it's from a date tree, so it has a taste, but it doesn't have a smell. And the hadassim have a good smell, but they don't have any fruit, so they have no taste. Those represent Yidden who have either Ma'asim Tovim or either Torah. So they're not on the madrega of tzaddikim. And then there are the aravas, which have neither good taste nor good smell, and they represent people who have no Torah, no Ma'asim Tovim, which basically are Rishonim. So the Torah says we take them all together, and we say Hayil Hashem Ki Tov with all of them together. We should all be together. But the question is, don't Chazal say that you should stay away from Rishonim? Ein Shalom Oma Hashem L'Rishonim. That there is no Shalom between us and Rishonim. So why are we taking everyone together? So the Moshe Sternbuch says, it depends what kind of Rishonim we're talking about. If they're Rishonim who want to have a connection with Fruma Yidden and with Tzaddikim, so those who should be Mekaref, and we should be together with them. But those Rishonim that want to band together by themselves and don't want to have anything to do with Fruma Yidden or Tzaddikim, though that's what the Hoshanas represent. They are just taken together, just Hoshanas, just the Aravas, and those we bang them on the floor and take off the leaves, whatever, because those we should have nothing to do with. Matter of fact, we say every day, those are the people that we want to stay away from, and certainly from those people who pretend that they are orthodox, but really they are misrepresenting what the Torah says and what the Torah wants, what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants. It's a mitzvah to stay away from them and to treat them like the Hoshanas. I want to tell you a story that happened with the Rosh Yeshiva from Yeshivas Nei Yisrael here in Baltimore, which sheds a lot of light on this concept. The Rosh Yeshiva of Ruderman, I was once in his office discussing something with him, and so on, runs in all excited and says, Rebbe, I'm sorry for interrupting, but this is very important. He was by the graduation of his daughter in Beis Yaakov of Baltimore, and they sang the Hatikva at the graduation. So he said to Rav Ruderman, how do you allow that Beis Yaakov, that is on a high madrega of teaching Torah, teaching mitzvahs and Yiddishkeit and Yiras Shamayim, how do you allow them to sing the Hatikva? You're the Rav of the town. So Rav Ruderman said to him, in this town, Baruch Hashem, we have Shalom. Es kost uns. We have to pay for it. Which means that there are certain things that we have to give in order to have Shalom. You can't have Shalom if everyone wants to have everything the way that he thinks things should go. So this is a very important lesson that I learned at that time, that it's not easy necessarily to make Shalom. You may have to go easy on some of the things which you really want, as long as they're not really that important. The Hatikva in itself is not, there's nothing wrong with the Hatikva. It's only that it is sung and maybe used by groups that are against Torah and Yiddishkeit. Jewish groups which are against Torah and Yiddishkeit. So that's why we want to stay away from it. But if this is what is necessary to keep the Shalom, we will do that. Actually, he quoted a Tshuva Sefer that says, Mutav lahamid tselem b'heichal, it's better to put a tselem in the heichal in the Beis HaMikdash rather than cause a machlokas. So it's not always so easy. Not everything always goes exactly the way you want it to go, as long as it's not such an important thing to our Yiddishkeit. It may be kedai to invata on it in order to make sure there's Shalom. Now, I just want to say something about this Hatikva, that when the Beis Yaakov started in 1950 around, there was most of the Talmidos, maybe 80% of them came from non-frum homes. And at that time they asked Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, what about singing the Hatikva? They sang Star Spangled Banner and the Hatikva. So they asked him if they should do that. So Rabbi Yaakov said, if not singing the Hatikva means that there's going to be one girl who will not go to Beis Yaakov because of that, then they should sing it. And that's why they did it. They had a hurrah from a Gol Yisrael, they should do that. There's another story which demonstrates what I'm trying to bring out from the with Rav Yonason Steif, Rav Yonason Steif. Rav Yonason Steif was a Gadol b'Yisrael, and he was the Rav of the Wiener Shul. People came from Austria, from the town of Vienna, and he was their Rav. And they were in Williamsburg. There was also another Satmar, also had their place, their shul, and their base medrash also in Williamsburg. So it happened quite often that people from the Yonason Steif and the Satmar Kehillah, they intermarried. So that happened. A bacha from Yonason Steif's Kehillah got engaged to a girl from the Satmar Kehillah, and they had a machlokes between the parents of the chassan and the kala. What should the chassan wear when he goes down to the chuppah? The chassan side said that they wanted to wear a biba hittel. That was like a fur hat with a low crown, which they wore over there. The Satmar Kala said that by them the minig is to wear the shtreimel. So they had a machlokas what the chassan should wear. So the chassan said, "Look, I'm the husband, so you go after when people get married, they go after the husband." So they said that in the Satmar the minig is that when it comes to the chasna, you go after the kala. So they couldn't come to terms what he should wear. So they decided they're going to ask Rav Yonason Steif, and whatever Rav Yonason Steif says, that's what they're going to do. So they went to Rav Yonason Steif, and he listened to what the chasna had to say, and he listened to what the kala had to say intently. And then finally, when you had the story straight, why they said you have to go after the chassan side and why they said you have to go after the kala side, Rav Yonason Steif said the following remark, and this is all that he would say. He said, he spoke in German, but I'll say it in English. He says, "I can't understand why you're making such a commotion about hat styles." Because basically, that's all that it is. I mean, it's not that the shtreimel is the kaddish, as if it was Moshe Rabbeinu wore shtreimel when he brought down the luchas from Min HaShamayim. So this was a chashva hat which the Hasidim used for chashva occasions, including Shabbos and to Chabad the Shabbos. They did that, and in Wien, it wasn't the minhag to do that, so they did what they felt was the kavod Shabbos and kavod of the chasna, and really the whole fight is about dvarim shel mabakach, things that are not important. And so we have to be very careful that very often machlokas starts out about things which either are not negea either party who's making the machlokas, or that there's small things which are not important, certainly not enough to make a machlokes about. Now, Rav Chaim says in his instructions to Rabbanim in every city, this is what the Rav Chaim said. He's written in one of his forum. Rabbanim, if you want to make a takana in a town, you want to fix something, and you have but if you're going to fix it, it's going to cause a machlokes. He said, better do not fix it. It's better that it should stay, even though it's not good. Make machlokes is the worst thing. It's not only the worst thing because it's machlokes, but it's the worst thing for Yiddishkeit. When people see that there's machlokes, they get turned off. People like to have something where there are no fights about. The Chazal say that in the Gemara in Shabbos, I think Tav Kuf Yutes and Beis, that by the Churban Habayis leicharba Yerushalayim achabizu ba Tamid Chachamim. Because in Vaz Tamid Chachamim, it's the Chasidim of this Talmid Chacham is going to is going to start up with the other ones. They're going to make a whole fight. Usually the fight is usually between the adherents of the Gedolim, not between the Gedolim themselves. And so that was a cause, one of the causes of the Churban. There's a very interesting tshuva, interesting bia halacha in Siman Shin Lamed Tes, I think Siv Gimel, that over there the Chavetz Chaim brings in the bia halacha an interesting tshuva from the Zichron Yosef. The Zichron Yosef was lived maybe in the 1800s, and there was a tshuva which he wrote to Moreno Rav Rabbi Yaakov, and he called him a Godel. So what was the question? It says in Shulchan Aruch, and this is why it's in Shem Lamed Tes, that in Meragdamei Mesapkim, on Shabbos, you're not allowed to dance and jump around, and because it's a gzeira that Shemi Yisakin Klei Shir, maybe he'll fix a Klei Shir, and that's the reason why you can't play musical instruments on Shabbos. So the Chacham expanded it and said you can't even dance because they're afraid if you're going to dance, you're going to make music, and it's going to come to Chil Shabbos Deraisa. So he brings down the question like this: that on Yontif, in his town, this Rabbeinu Rabbi Yaakov, in his town, they, on the first day Yontif, they made a very big simcha, and they were dancing over there, and they had music over there, and the men and the women were dancing together, not only the Bachrim and the boys and the girls, but also married men and married women. They're all dancing together. The cover Yontif. So he said that he was Meicha, and he said that you cannot do this because he was afraid that if you're not going to be Meicha, then they'll do it again on the second day Yontif. They had it scheduled for the second day Yontif, and so he put an end to it. But now he's asking the Zichron Yosef whether he did the right thing or not. Could be he did the wrong thing. So you know, it sounds like a silly question. What do you mean, did you do the right thing? This way the Ovan is assumed the Raisa on the such preachers that even today it's not heard of in from circles that there should be such a thing, that they should dance together. That forget about, he was saying it's also to dance on Yontif because and certainly over here where there's Mamish Surim, the Arayas, they're married women, the Nidus, whatever else they are, it doesn't matter. It is assumed deraisa. And he's asking, maybe I did the wrong thing. So the Zichron Yosef said, no, you did the right thing. As a matter of fact, in his town, they also made a takana that no boys and girls are allowed to dance together. And Baruch Hashem, he said in his town that they don't have it. But it seems they had to make a takana. It seems that it wasn't such a simple thing in those days. So what was he said you did the right thing. So this person who's asking the question, the Zichron Yosef addresses him as a Moreno Rav Rabbi Yaakov, and said it's Adam Gadol. So that was the question. The question was, he knew that if he's going to stop them, it's going to cause a machlokes. So the question is it the right thing that to do something which can cause a machlokes? Maybe it's since machlokes is the worst thing, so maybe you should let this. So no, sometimes you've got to put your foot down. When same way that we say with Rishonim, you've got to put your foot down. And for people who are trying to fool others into what orthodoxy is, that sometimes you have to put your foot down so that people should understand what's right and what's wrong. So he did the right thing. But especially in these days, that the Ribono Shalom has caused the COVID virus. It's a pandemic which has affected basically the whole world. And Rav Chaim Kanievsky said that they asked him, what is it from? And he said, it's because of machlokes. We have machlokes. And the Rashi says that the reason why the Torah says, Bodod Yeshev Michus Lamachne Moishavai by Mitzorah, because Rashi says, because he caused the machlokes with Lashon Hara, Ben Ish L'Ishtay Ben Adam L'Chaveirai. So therefore, midah keneged midah, we say bodod yeshev. So this is one of the things with this virus, that you have to have social distancing, 6 feet away. In some places they have special hotels for these COVID people, so they have to be away from everyone else. So that's because we have machlokes for really things which are not important, trivial things. If you're not from if you don't dress the way we do, you don't do certain things which we do, which are not ikrim in Yiddishkeit, which it's just a style, a minig. So if someone else, he doesn't do that, he can't down from the Amud, he can't come to my school, or whatever. This is all trivial things, which is causing rifts between people. And if the Rebbeinu Shalom destroyed the Beis HaMikdash because of machlokes, so then how can we expect that the Rebbeinu Shalom should send us a Beis HaMikdash if we still involved in machlokes? So therefore, it is so important that this is one of the most important things that we should do, to try to work out our differences and live b'shalom with each other, as long as we all want to do the Ratzon Hashem, as long as we all want to keep the mitzvahs and to learn the Rebbeinu Shalom's Torah. There's only one Torah, and if we all should be together in learning the Rebbeinu Shalom's Torah and doing the Rebbeinu Shalom's mitzvahs, then maybe we'll be zeicha to the binyan bayis shlishi v'meher b'yameinu. Amen.